This is Des Moines, Iowa, a place where American industry still means something. For over half a century, the Titans built here have powered the heart of America's economy: agriculture, construction, earthmoving. The machines that shape the land and the people who make them possible. Titan Tire Des Moines factory isn't just a plant, it's a landmark. Generations of families have worked these lines, father to son, skills passed down, pride handed over like a torch. In a world where so much manufacturing has moved offshore, Titan stands out. This is one of the last major off-road tire factories still operating and growing on U.S. soil. Inside these walls, raw steel and raw rubber become the biggest, toughest tires built in America. Tires for tractors, for combines, for loaders, for the machines that feed us, build our roads, and move our world. Today, we are walking the floor where American craftsmanship is still alive and loud, where the presses rumble, the mixers thunder, and the work is done by people who take pride in every bead, every ply, and every cure cycle. This is Titan Tire. This is Des Moines. This is American manufacturing up close. Welcome to Around the Bead. Today, we are joined by two voices who represent the heart of Titan. First, Scott Sloan, the father of LSW technology and one of the most respected minds in off-highway tires. Scott has spent his career pushing Titan forward with innovations that change the way equipment performs in the field. And guiding this factory every day is the Des Moines plant manager, the leader responsible for the people, the production, and the American craftsmanship happening inside these walls. All right, we're following you out.
We'll get started. Just quickly, what we'll do is we'll make way to the beginning of the process and work our way back. We have 1.2 million square feet on the production floor. Okay? The factory is broken down into 4 different departments. All right? As you walk through, you're going to see it is not sort of an assembly line. It's more like a cell-based operation that we have. So we have raw materials come in, we do the whole process, build the components here, put them together, vulcanize and cure them, do the final inspection before they go to the warehouse. So the 4 areas that we'll be touring today will be the first one is called our mill room mixing area. That's where we do all our component prep, mix our rubber, also produce the fabric that goes into our tires, the belt, the core, the structure of it, and our inner liners as well. Also do our bead former in this area. The second area of the factory, which is kind of in the middle of it, is our tire assembly area, which we call our tire floor. That's where we take all the components that the mill room produces, put them together, and build what we call a carcass structure. Also, what we do there is we strip wind, so we wrap the rubber. So that's when we apply the sheet of rubber that you see on the outside layer of the finished product, right? From that point on in, goes to our third department, which is our cure vulcanization area. That's where we take the green tire, put it into a press, a clamshell mold, vulcanize it, comes out as the finished product. Final and fourth department is our final finish inspection. We have 2 centralized inspection areas that all the tires go through. They get 100% visual inspection, trim any access flashing, gets approved by our final finish inspectors, and then it goes into the warehouse. All right. What you see behind me, it's basically just illustrating and showing the individuals that have been here for over a year without any accidents or incidents recorded. And we have individuals here for over 20 years that haven't had any injuries in the factory. A plaque gets hung up in this wall and they get to sign it. All right, so this is our raw material receiving area. This is where all our, we call our rubbers, our bead wires, our chemicals, our fabrics get unloaded and stored.
Rubber is the foundation of every Titan tire. And it starts right here in this room. Each block and each sheet is a specific compound engineered for a specific job. Tread rubber, sidewall rubber, inner liner, bead filler. Stored under the exact conditions and tracked by batch, these raw materials are the building blocks the plant relies on for strength, durability, and performance.
So what we have behind me is a Banbury. It's basically a large mixing oven. What we do here is the Banbury operator weighs in the rubber and the chemicals that are going into a batch that's going to make that specific rubber that he's mixing to. The system's operated under a go, no go system. That's how we ensure the quality of the material being mixed. The conveyor belt itself has a load cell so that once it weighs in, the operator can see on his screen when he's got a green light, when he's met that specified weight. The formulas or the chemicals get applied onto that batch of rubber. It indexes into the Banbury body, mixes it in, and drops down, and it comes back out as a wick on our wig-wag system as what we call the final stop. Once it comes out, it goes into our lab. It needs to gets tested through our QA techs before it goes released into production. So what we have here is our calendaring system. So this is a Z configuration calendaring system. What we do here is we take the spools of gray fabric, unwind it, then we put a skim stock of rubber on top and underneath of that fabric, giving it a specified thickness. Cools down, gets stored in, and this is what's being used, what we call the body plies of the tire.
The curing presses are the heart of the factory. Massive steel molds that transform soft, flexible rubber into a finished tire built for years of hard work. Inside each press, heat and pressure force the tread pattern and sidewall shape and the final strength to every tire. It's loud, it's hot, and it's the moment a Titan truly becomes a Titan.
Something to also to point out is this is where the rubber, or what we call skim stock, that's going to be applied onto this sheet of fabric is broken down. Before we had large mills that did that, that was a pitch hazard, and we had to have more bodies making sure that that rubber was being processed properly. Now we have extruders that do that. These extruders are variable speed, so they would speed up or slow down based on the calendar speed, so the rubber doesn't scorch or just melt itself to the point where it burns and it's not usable anymore. Once it's broken down, it comes out on these strips onto what we call the fly rubber calendar. So here we have the operating station of our C calendaring process. Operator determines speeds and bike configurations of the roads to give that perfect skim stock, the desired gauge that we need, or the specified gauge that we need. This is where the operator controls the wind up and the let off of the machine. So this is our wind up area. This is where we take the fabric that has been calendared and we roll it onto these liners for storage. Once the liners are filled, they'll go into what we consider a humidity control room. So the material's kept in there for a minimum of 2 hours before it can get pulled out of production. So it'll get scanned into a location inside of that humidity control room. Once those 2 hours are due, that material will become available for scheduling, so they can start scheduling within our banners. And that's where we go in next. So our banners are, or bias cutters, is where we take the spools of calendar fabric and we cut it to a specified width and angle based on production needs. So what we have here is our automatic splicing banner. What this machine does, it takes the rows of fabric that we just saw being calendared, runs it through the machine, and it cuts it to a specified angle and width based on production needs. The unique features about this machine, as you see there, it has a robotic fingers that grab the material, pulls it through, and then it automatically splices it to a continuous roll that gets fed into the tire machines. Efficiency gains, see a lot more, about 35 to 40% efficiency on these machines versus the previous machines where it actually took an operator to splice that material together. This area is where we form, manufacture beads for our tires. So when you talk about a bead on the tire, this is what gives the tire that strength and that support to keep your tire on the wheel. Talk about, we'll have 2 beads on each tire. These beads are formed based on a spec from engineering where we take spools of copper-coated steel wire and goes through a baffle and die. This is where we apply a specified bead compound. Goes through our wheel forming area, and based on engineering specs on what tire this would be applied to determine how many wires wide and how many wraps get applied to that bead and the diameter as well. All that calculation is done based on the inflation, the load, and the speed rating of the tire and other factors that engineers take into account.
The bead winding process takes high tensile steel wire and forms it into circular bundles that anchor the tire to the rim. Each bead must meet strict tolerances for strength, diameter, and uniformity. These wires are coated, wound, and wrapped to create the structure that ensures the tire seats properly and carries heavy agricultural and construction loads.
Once the beads are formed, they go into what we call bundles, get tagged. You notice the barcode too, that's how we keep the inventory here. So they'll scan this barcode onto this rack, and then this rack will get scanned into a location. When you got 1.2 million square feet, you don't want the supervisor going all the way around the factory looking for a bundle of beads. So now we're making our way out of the mailroom and into our tire floor. This is the tire assembly area. This is where we have these machines that you see here. These are TAMs, tire assembly machines. These are some of our newer, what we call triple R bladder turn-up machines. Very efficient piece of equipment when it comes to tire building. However, as you can see, there's still a lot of manual labor involved to make a tire. It's not as automated as you would see on a passenger tire facility. The reason for that is because the sizes and the ranges of sizes that we produce here makes it difficult to automate a process because we got to change over from what we manufacture anywhere from an 8-inch up to a 54-inch feet diameter tire here. So quite a range to cover when you're talking about automation. So once its plies are placed onto the drum, the beads come in place. We do what we call a bead set. So the beads come in, and then you'll notice the bladders inflating, creating that turn-up. Once a turn-up is placed, this is what we call an all-up construction tire as well. The carcass gets pulled out of the TAM, the building drum, placed into a rack. At that point, the tire builder will place a barcode on there, scan the barcode to that rack, then that rack will go into a location. So here we have our radial second stage process. This is where we take our radial carcasses, and these have sidewall applied on them already. But what we do here is that we'll apply the belts and the tread over it. Once this is done, the tires will get removed and will get placed on storage tubs, and we'll go into what we call a green tire storage. So what the operator is doing in this process is he's freshening up that top layer of the carcass, making it tacky. So when the polyester belts get applied to them, it'll have a nice sticky surface for it to tack onto. So what we have here is our automated straight winding process. We have one operator that loads the machine with carcasses. The carcasses get fed into this conveyor belt. The robot arm will pick up the carcass, place it onto the spin station, wrap the tread over it, what we call a tread profile, remove that tire from the spin station, place it onto our spray booth, then an inside lubricant will apply to it for processing issues. We use that during curing so the tire doesn't stick to the curing press or the bladder when it's being cured out. Gets removed, placed onto the rack, and then we'll have a stockman operator, once the rack is full, remove it and take it into either storage or to the curing press. So this is one of our newest pieces of equipment. It's a automatic splicing Prozac banner. This is where we process all of our belts for our radial tire production. So we cut a lot of our polyesters here. So what the machine's doing is cutting the polyester belt to a specified width and angle, and it also complexing it for us. So when it's completed, we'll have a complex roll ready to get applied onto our radial tires.
What are the advantages of the robotics?
So the advantage that you see here is you see the robotic arm. It's grabbing the material itself. Before, we actually had an operator doing that. So they would grab the material and splice it, where that's all being done automatic with the machine now. So we go from a 2-man operation to a 1-man operation.
More efficient.
And your efficiency doubles as well. So this is the third department within the factory. So this is our cure vulcanization room. This is where we take the green tires, vulcanize it. Cure times here vary, could be anywhere from 25 minutes up to 3-hour cure cycles. Once it's met its cure time, that clamshell press mold will open up, and we have what you see here as a finished tire. From this point on, it still has to go through a visual inspection before it gets released onto the warehouse. This is our final inspection area. This is where we have 2 centralized inspection areas, but this is where all the tire comes to. Either gets trucked on here with a Ford truck, or we have a system of conveyor belts that will feed the tire onto this area. The inspectors will take the tires off the conveyor belt, visually inspect them on the outside layer, inside as well, remove any excess flashing that the tires might have through the mold process. Once they're done inspecting it, they'll stamp it and take it onto that conveyor belt that feeds it onto our warehouse. Once it gets scanned into the warehouse, this tire becomes warehouse inventory, and then the factory gets credit for what it's been producing.
From the factory floor to the field, this is where Titan Tire begins their journey to farms, job sites, and fleets across America. In the finished goods warehouse, cured and inspected tires are staged by size, application, and customer order. This area acts as a hub between manufacturing, logistics, and outbound freight. Inventory visibility and precise sorting are critical. A single plant like this can ship thousands of units a week.
Well, this is kind of a unique design. This is actually our track loader 2, or TL2. And I tell the story, the track loader mold's been around for 50 years or so, and the plant was wearing out the molds. They're just getting old and getting worn out. So they came to us to make a new molds for them in the old track loader mold. But
This is a custom Kubota tire.
This is, well, it turned out to be a custom Kubota tire because we ended up not able to replicate the track loader molds close enough, so we decided just to go ahead and put some new features and benefits like the grooves and the tie bars on the tire. Kubota ended up loving it, so they ended up wanting to brand it Kubota. So now we've actually got TL2s that are actually Kubota branded.
And better tie bars and new cutting edges do what?
Well, traction, lateral stability, you don't slide, it looks cool. So, I mean, honestly, it's just a fresh look on an old idea, so, yeah.
Titan is one of the only manufacturers that also builds its own wheels. The wheel warehouse stores thousands of assemblies in multiple sizes, offsets, and colors, all staged for OEM and aftermarket demand. This integration allows Titan to match tire and wheel performance from the ground up. Strength, geometry, footprint, and load rating are all engineered together.
All right, so we're in the mounting facility. This was it's attached to our factory, but this is actually our mounting facility. This is where all mounting assemblies come and leave here. So we bring wheels in from Quincy, Illinois, tires in from Freeport, Illinois, Bryan, Ohio, You might see some Trelleborg in here, you might see some Alliance in here. This is a mounting facility, so we've got different wheels and tire combinations, and some, hard to believe, doesn't call for a Titan or Goodyear tire. So this is what we do down here.
You mount everything and for who?
We mount for Kubota, Coyote, New Holland, Porsche, Versatile, you name it, you'll see every color wheel with everybody's tire on here. So it's a great facility. We mount everything from 16, 15 inch all the way up to 54 inch.
And this is the added service that you have for equipment manufacturing.
Yep, so this is kind of, that's our shtick, right? We're the one-stop shop for assembly. So we'll palletize them and however they want them packaged, 4 high or 2 high or whatever, put them on a pallet, and then they'll get shipped out to the manufacturer. Well, you think about it, it's a lot less complicated if you just have one invoice for an assembly as opposed to bringing in a tire, bringing in a wheel, and then trying to bring them together. We do all the heavy lifting and just ship out the assembly here.
This is where everything comes together. Titan Tire's wheel and assembly area. Tires built in-house, wheels welded and painted just steps away. And here, the two become one complete system. These assemblies leave the plant ready for equipment from John Deere, Kubota, Case, AGCO, and more. When a machine rolls off an OEM line, many times the tire and wheel package started their life right here.
So this is the end of the line. This is where we take our finished product, tires from the manufacturing side, and match it up here in our mounting facility. Have assemblies ready to ship out, go out to the end customer. But it all happens here. You got 1.2 million square feet of shop floor space and about the same for warehouse and mounting. So you got over 2 million square feet from the beginning, raw material, all the way through finished product, mounted, out the door to our customer.
You know, that's the unique thing about Titan is, you know, right here in Des Moines, Iowa. So from the very beginning of the process to we're standing in a warehouse, the tires that are next stop is going to be the customer. You know, it's a pretty cool process when you really boil down and take a look at it. And again, it's all happening right here in Des Moines, Iowa.
Made in America.
For generations, Titan has stood with American agriculture, with the growers, with the harvesters, with the family farms, and the massive operations that keep this country fed. Their tires don't just move machines, they move the heart of rural America. Thanks for joining us inside Titan Tire here in Des Moines, one of the last major off-road tire plants still building American strength one layer at a time. If you love seeing how the toughest tires in the world are made, hit that like button, subscribe, and keep riding with us for more factory tours across the tire industry. This is Around the Bead. See you on the next one.